What's your reaction to the Sixers suspending Simmons for one game?
I knew Doc was going to get to this point after watching Ben Simmons show up yesterday at practice with a cell phone in his pocket. But it's two words that come to mind with Ben Simmons: selfish and soft. And it's like, it's almost like these cupcakes I like to eat, creamy in the inside. You have to be mentally strong. And if Ben Simmons wants to get out of Philly, the thing that he's going to have to do is go out there and perform so that he can up his value. Because right now, teams are just trying to give away role players for Ben Simmons, and the Philadelphia 76ers ownership, not Elton Brand, not Doc Rivers, not Daryl Morey, the owners are making a statement right now and saying, you know what, we don't have to trade you, and we're going to hold our ground. And I knew it was going to get to this point.
Leave the gym right now.
For what?
I'll ask you one last time to leave the gym before I help you leave.
This ain't over!
Let's talk about the Ben Simmons situation. What we're witnessing with this situation is very unfortunate, especially for Ben Simmons, because by being sensitive, being a sensitive guy, by refusing to play and creating a cancer to an organization like the Sixers, him being traded to a good team, him wanting to move on to a better situation, it's hurting his chances for other teams to recruit him. It shows he's untrustworthy. It shows he's too emotional. He can't control his emotions. And it shows he's not mentally tough. So right now, Simmons is really hurting his stock. Hurting his whole perception has gone downhill right now because of his actions. I want to know I want to know why he still has his agent. That's why you have an agent, to advise you on what not to do. So obviously he's not getting the advice that he needs, or he's not listening. So I'm going to play some highlights. There's several NBA players who have faced criticism, not just from fans, from media and the world, have been criticized their whole careers and have chosen to prove their critics wrong, aka be superstars. They've chosen to be great, to be triumphant. And I'm gonna show some footage on not all of them that I remember, but 3 in particular. Here we go.
Marbury was already averaging over 20 points and 8 assists per game, a feat that only a handful of other players have ever accomplished. He was a star at such a young age, and with the way he played, it looked like he could become an all-time great. Over the years, Marbury eventually developed into an all-star, but for the next 10 years, his game didn't really improve that much. By the time he joined the New York Knicks in 2004, he was expected to bring them back into the playoff conversation. But unfortunately, it did not work out for the Brooklyn prodigy. His time in New York was filled with clashes with his coach Larry Brown, conflicts with his teammates, and a ton of losses. Everything went as bad as it possibly could have went. Coach Brown publicly said that, "I don't know why you play a team sport if you're not concerned with making your teammates better and helping your team win games." This was directed at Marbury because at the time, everyone knew he was extremely talented, but he just didn't understand what he needed to do to win. His game was described as being very selfish, at times shooting the ball way too much just to get his points or trying to stat pad his assists. By 2008, after spending 12 seasons in the NBA, he only made the playoffs 4 different times and lost in the first round every single time. He spent his last season in the NBA playing very little minutes for the Boston Celtics, before quietly leaving the NBA at the age of 32. How's it going, fellas? My name's Andy, and today we're going to talk about how Stephon Marbury overcame his shortcomings to become a basketball legend in China, same standards as the others. Shortly after his last NBA season, Marbury also fell into a deep depression and had suicidal thoughts. He said, when everything went on with the Knicks and, my father passed on, the Starbury brand was basically losing life slowly, and I was watching it, and I think that was hurting me more than seeing my basketball career going in the direction that it was going. I was trapped in my thoughts. I was trapped in how I felt about how I felt I was treated. I was trapped with decisions I made. I wanted to die. I wanted to kill myself some days. I did. It wasn't about basketball. It started to become about me, because I was that depressed and I was that sick. At one point, he was even live streaming himself eating Vaseline. However, Marbury got himself together and decided that he wanted to do something else. Although his NBA career was over, he still wanted to prove that he could play. He wanted to continue playing professional basketball. And that's when he made his way to China. But unlike most other players who play overseas just for a paycheck, he played for himself. He played to redeem himself from his past failures, and wanted to leave a mark in China, which he did. By January of 2010, he joined the Shanxi Brave Dragons of the Chinese Basketball Association. Marbury instantly made an impact on the team, averaging about 23 points and 9 assists, as he got selected to be an all-star, but he couldn't lead the team to the playoffs. Regardless, when he was playing in Shanxi, everyone showed him love. He stated, being able to be someplace where they showed nothing but love to you, it's the best feeling in the world. You're going somewhere where people want to be around you, they want to understand you, they take the time to understand you, it's new, it's a brand new start. This was only the beginning of Marbury's journey. By 2011, he found himself on the Beijing Ducks, a team that's been around since 1995, but they never had any success. That is, until Marbury arrived. From 2012 to 2015, Marbury led the Ducks to 3 championships in 4 years. Reaching the CBA playoffs for the first time, Marbury finally proved that he was a winner, and along with teammate Randolph Morris, they would dominate the playoffs. In the semifinals against his former team, Marbury averaged 45 points a game in the series, including 2 back-to-back games where he scored over 50 points. Then in the finals, going up against the Guangdong Southern Tigers led by former NBA player Aaron Brooks, Marbury led them to a 4-1 series victory, capping off Game 5 with 41 points. The Beijing Ducks won their first ever CBA championship. And afterwards, Marbury got a lot of calls from the NBA. Now, a lot of teams were interested in signing him, but he didn't care about that anymore. Now, he was the most popular player in the entire country. When the Houston Rockets tried to contact him and offer him a contract, Marbury said, "I basically kept telling them I wasn't interested, and I really wasn't. That was not where my mind was. They had just talked about erecting a statue for me, and the last thing I was thinking about was playing back in the NBA." A couple months after he won the championship, a statue of Marbury was built right next to the Cadillac Arena, the same stadium where Beijing hosted the 2008 Olympics. Marbury's dominance was so clear that the CBA started to create new rules for foreign players. They revised the foreign player rule and limited the number of foreign players that each team could have. They also introduced a new award beginning in 2013, the CBA International MVP. Marbury was the first ever international MVP. As the popularity of Chinese basketball continued to grow, contracts became more lucrative, so more and more foreign players started to come over to play, all because of Marbury. The Beijing Ducks would also win the 2014 and 2015 championships, as Marbury won Finals MVP. By 2015, Marbury's popularity reached an all-time high. He even got a museum dedicated to him in Beijing. He also got honored by the Beijing government for his charity work and his commitment to the community. His signature Starbury shoes started to get more popular, and some are priced as low as $15, so most people could afford them without breaking the bank. He felt that guys like Jordan and LeBron charged way too much for their shoes, since it does not cost much to make them. So Marbury went in a different direction, selling shoes that even kids could afford.
I intentionally showed more of Stephon Marbury, made him the highlight of this video, because he's probably the most triumphant story ever in the NBA. He was ostracized by the NBA, blackballed by the Knicks, by analysts, the whole NBA, ESPN, and was written off as crazy because society, the entertainment world and the Western world made him appear to be crazy. So he went to China and literally an athlete's dream come true happened to Stephon Marbury. He was blessed by God. Not only did he win championships in China, they immortalized him with a statue and a museum. That normally happens to people who have died. Marbury is still a young man living, and he's a living legend. He's a living legend. That's a term that is rarely used. He's a living legend. He's already idolized, immortalized right now, and is still living as a young man. That is prolific. That is amazing. So Stephon Marbury is easily the greatest story ever told of resurgence from an athlete. Easily. After his success in China, he was offered NBA contracts, declined. He declined. So people forget about Stephon Marbury's story, the situation, what happened. And his successes aren't spoken much about here in America because of the guilt that everyone would carry, accountability for those who treated him so poorly, accountability. So feel free to Google Stephon Marbury, what is accomplished, his museum, his statue. Yes, Stephon's a winner. And that is the kind of attitude that Ben Simmons needs to take on. Instead of giving into negativity, giving into, evil, he needs to play his best basketball, crush the critics, prove them wrong, and show them why he's great, because Simmons is a great ball player. Here's a short snippet on the next two.
I think about the maturation process, and obviously, clearly knowing you for years, there's obviously one that has taken place. When you reach out to the LeBron James, to the Carmelo Anthonys, to the Dwayne Wades, because I happen to know you have reached out to them.
Them dudes got heart, too.
I know.
By the way.
I know. What are the kind of things you say to them right now, based on your own personal experience?
Learn from what I did wrong. Learn from all the stuff you seen Allen Iverson do wrong, that rubbed everybody the wrong way. If you don't want to go through what I go through right now, as far as being the bad guy in the NBA and all this stuff, be fake then. Basically, that's all I'm telling you. Just be fake.
But you're not fake.
And I'm not going to do it. I'd rather not be in the NBA. I'm not living my life like that.
But why tell them to do that if that's
No,
something
I'm telling them to do whatever it takes for them to be successful. I always let LeBron know off top, dog, they love you right now. They love you right now. But please believe me, the first incident, the first time something happened, they are waiting, man. They're waiting, man. They're waiting, man. Just like, I hate to bring it up, but the other situation with Kobe.
My good friend Kobe Bryant. Yes, quite often I could feel his hatred. I'm sure Kobe was pissed when I wrote in the last season that he was uncoachable. And yes, we were often at loggerheads. He wanted more freedom, and I wanted him to be more disciplined. This is a normal source of friction thing between coaches and players on just about every level of competition. Stephen A.
So the last two, Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant. Allen Iverson criticized his whole career. Fans, media, he didn't care. He played his best basketball, was dominant throughout it all, and thrived individually on his greatness. Kobe Bryant, the sex allegations, his coach not liking him, being criticized for the Lakers' issues. Again, Kobe became arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Used the negativity to thrive and dominate and become inhuman and better. So, in short, Ben Simmons, good luck. Hopefully he has a change of heart and hones into his gifts and his killer instinct and crushes his critics, proves them wrong. Subscribe. Please subscribe. I'd love to hear comments. I respond back to all my comments. And give me your opinion on this situation with Ben Simmons. or past NBA players who faced adversity and managed to plug through. God bless. Love y'all.